you doing today? Welcome to this lesson. I'm teacher Agnes, and today we are going to be discussing order of operations on fractions. So remember, in our previous lesson we went through the different operations that you can do on fractions. We discussed how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide fractions. So what do you do now if you have all those operations in one question? So just like we did with numbers, we must follow BODMAS. Okay? We must follow BODMAS. So what does this mnemonic represent? Let's go through it again. The S represents subtraction. Okay, it means that you subtract. A is addition, so you add. M is multiplication, so you multiply. Then D is division. And then O is for of. And then we have brackets. So whenever you have a question that has more than one operation, then you follow BODMAS. So we always begin with brackets, followed by of, then division, multiplication, addition, and then subtraction. So let us do a question and see how we apply this knowledge. So for our first example, we are going to do a half, okay, divide by -1/3, multiplied by 1/4 of -1/3. Okay, so you can see in this question we have how many operations? 3. We have division, multiplication, and then of. So which one comes first in the list? Bracket of. So of is there. So we begin with the two fractions that have the operation of. So we have 1/4. Now what does of mean? Of means you multiply, so times -1/3. Do you remember the rules of multiplying fractions? We say that you multiply the numerators first. So 1 times -1 is -1/4 times 3, which is 12. So we get -1/12. Now if we rewrite our question, we will have a half divided by -1/3 times, we have already worked out this section, so we have -1/12. Okay, now between division and multiplication, which one comes first? So looking at BODMAS, we have division coming before multiplication. So we do, or rather we begin with the operation of division. So now this is a half divided by -1/3, which is equal to a half. We say we change the sign to multiplication, and then then 3/-1. We do the reciprocal of the fraction. So this is 3/-1. So this will be equal to 1 times 3 is 3/2 times -1, which is -2. So from this, we have solved the section of division. So now, since we have obtained 3/-2, we combine that with the multiplication of -1/12. So now we have 3/2 times -1/12. So is there anything that we can cancel out here? Yes, we can cancel out the negatives to begin with. Then 3 can cancel out with 12. So 12 divided by 3 is 4. So when you multiply this, you have 1 times 1, which is 1/2 times 4, which is 8. And that is how we solve a question that has different operations in it. Let us do one more example that has a little bit of a difference and see how we tackle it. Okay, so in this example, like you can see, we have two segments. We have a big fraction, that has a numerator and then a denominator. But in the numerator, we have two different operations. In the denominator, we have two different operations. So do we still use both mass in this case? Yes, we do. So we use both mass, but, okay, we use both mass, but we don't mix it up. We choose or we take the numerator and work it out first, then take the denominator, work it out first, then combine the two in the end. So let's start with the numerator. So our numerator is 21 divided by a quarter of 28. So between division and off, which one comes first? It's off. So we have 1 over 4 of 28. So remember, off means you do what? You multiply. So this will be equal to by 4 1 by 4 7. Then we have now 21 divided by the answer we have gotten here. So we have 21 divided by 7, which is equal to 3. Very good. Now, next, we work on the denominator. So the denominator is 1 over 2 plus 5 over 6 times 2 over 5. So here we have the operation of addition and multiplication. Now, since multiplication comes before addition, we have 5 over 6 times 2 over 5. Are there any numbers that we can simplify? We can cancel out the 5 with the 5. Then 6 is divisible by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So 1 times 1 is 1 over 3 times 1 is 3. So now that we have multiplied, what do we do next? We now add a half to the product of the two fractions, which is 1 over 3. So now we have 1 over 2 plus 1 over 3. So remember the rules of adding. Now since the denominators are different, what do? We get the LCM of 2 and 3, which is 6. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 times 1 is 3 plus 6 divided by 3 is 2. 2 times 1 is 2. And this will be equal to 3 plus 2, which is 5 over 6. Okay? So now we have gotten the answer for the denominator and we had the answer for the numerator. So what do we do next? We combine the two. So now the numerator over the denominator will be equal to, the numerator is 3 divided by the denominator, which is 5 over 6. Now this is equal to 3. Remember the rules of division. So we change the sign to multiplication, then we reciprocate the second fraction. So times 6 over 5. Now this will be equal to 3 times 6 is 18 over 5. And that is how you work out a question like this. So now I'll give you one question that you will attempt by yourself and test whether you can order the operations as they should in case you have a question that has more than one operation. Now in this example, you will notice that we have two sets of brackets. So we have brackets here and brackets here. So if the rule says that we start with brackets, which bracket do we start with? So this is the same as the previous question where we had two sets of combinations. We had a numerator and then a denominator. So it is the same, only that now the over is written as division. So what you do, you work out this first set of brackets and then you work out the other set of brackets, then you divide the two. Okay? So starting with the first one, we have 1 over 2 plus 5 over 6 times 2 over 5. So now between these two operations, which one should we begin with? We begin with the multiplication. So 5 over 6 times 2 over 5 will be equal to, the 5 cancel out each other, then we have 1 times 2, which is 2, over 6 times 1, which is 6. Okay? You can simplify this by dividing by 2. So 2 by 2 is 1, 6 by 2 is 3. So after this, we now add. So we have 1 over 2 plus 1 over 3. How do we add? We get the LCM of the denominators, which is 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 times 1, 3 plus 6 divided by 3, 2. 2 times 1 is 2. So this will be equal to 5 over 6. Okay? Now, having worked out this first part, we will work out inside the second set of brackets. Now, in that bracket, we have minus and then division. So between the two, which one comes first? Division comes first. So we have 1 over 3 divided by 4 over 9, which is equal to 1 over 3 times, remember when we change the multiplication, the division to multiplication, we must also reciprocate the second fraction. So times 9 over 4. Any two values that we can cancel out? Yes. So 3 by 3 is 1, 9 by 3 is 3. So 1 times 3 is equal to 3 over 1 times 4 is 4. Then now we can subtract. So we have 7 over 8 minus 3 over 4. This will be equal to, the LCM of 8 and 4 is 8. 8 divided by 8 is 1. 1 times 7 is, good, 7. Minus 8 divided by 4, 2. 2 times 3 is 6. So now 7 minus 6 is 1 over the 8. So now, having gotten the values inside the two sets of brackets, we can now divide them. So in the first one, we got 5 over 6. Then we divide it by the next one, which is 1 over 8. So this will be equal to 5 over 6 times 8 over 1. So what do? We simplify. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. 8 divided by 2 is 4. This will be equal to 5 times 4, which is 20, over 3 times 1, which is 3. Now you can have your answer like that, or you can convert the improper fraction into a mixed number. Do you remember that concept? So what do? 20 divided by 3 is 6 because of 18. So 20 minus 18 is 2. So we have 2 over 3. And that becomes your final answer. So now for your practice, you will attempt this question, okay? I need you to solve 3 over 4 divided by 3 over 5 minus 1 over 3 times 5 over 9 of 13 over 20. So follow the rule of BODMAS to work out this question. So I hope you have understood how to organize or which operations to choose and begin with before the others. And thank you for being in this lesson. See you in the next lesson.